Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Practical AI by Ramsri. And today we are going to see 9 tips to market your AI online course with zero budget. Without further ado, let's get started. So to give you more context, I launched a Udemy course back in February this year, and currently it stands at $3,433 in revenue with just 302 enrollments. The course is titled Question Generation Using Natural Language Processing. And to launch this course and market it, I haven't spent any money from my pocket. So I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks that I use to market my course. So first, pick a niche. So basically, pick a topic that's not too broad or too narrow, because if it's too narrow, then you don't have enough audience. If it's too broad, then there are already a lot of people who have done courses and it's very generic. So you need to target something that is right sized. And for me it was question generation because it also fit into the edtech growth that happened because of the COVID pandemic. And also one thing to take care of is try to pick a niche that is in the upward trend of Gartner's hype cycle. Gartner's hype cycle is basically a timeline of how a technology evolves, reaches hype and then dies down, or reaches a plateau, not exactly die down, but just it reaches a plateau after that. So if you look here, you see that generative AI is on the rising trend of the Gartner's hype cycle, and similarly you can see that chatbots etc. were on the rising trend, but right now they are on the downward hype. So you need to pick a topic that's not yet reached the hype, because that's when you get the most ROI, return on investment of your time. And question generation, so basically generating questions from any text, that also comes into the area of generative AI, so I picked that. And another important thing that you can take into consideration is how fast a GitHub library is growing. So if you just map out all the fast growing libraries and pick the AI ones out of them, then those are good candidates to make a course on. So if you look at Runa Capital's report on the fastest growing startups by GitHub stars in Q1 of 2021, you can see that there's Gina.ai, that's a neural search library that's also growing in popularity, and Supabase is alternative to Firebase. It's not exactly AI company, but you get a sense of what you can make a course on. Now moving on to the second tip, release an open source library. So if possible and if your course fit into the category, try to release an open source library. And people are worried quite a lot. If they release an open source library, then they are giving away a lot of content. So one way to moderate what you release and what you keep for the course is release, let's say, medium size custom data that you collected or curated, and a base model that's trained on that. You can release that as part of the open source library, and you can reserve the large data set as well as the large trained model and any extras like deployment of that model on cloud services etc. to the actual course. And you can see a link to my library question.ai that I developed along with a few interns. The third tip that I would give to you is actually building in public. So make course announcements and get traction in public. By that I mean talk about launching a course and give an email sign up form etc. in your social media channels like LinkedIn or Twitter, or if you have YouTube as well. And the positive thing is that try to advertise that whoever sign up through the email list, they will get the lowest possible rates for that course, and that gives an incentive. But at the same time, that acts as a solid validation on your end to see how many people are actually interested in the course, etc. And also continuously build in public. By that I mean a course might consist of maybe, let's say, 5 or 6 modules, and as you're creating each and every module, release the presentation slides and again ask for signups as you finish up each and every module. And the fourth tip is actually establish authority. So share tips, tricks, and any cool things about the topic of your course, or in general about the niche of AI that you're operating in. And in the 2 months before launch, build your brand and create buzz by sharing these valuable free tips. And I used LinkedIn and Twitter heavily. One slight unfair advantage that I had was that I already had 15,000 LinkedIn followers, and most of them were also formed in the last 1 year through natural language processing tips and other things, sharing content online, etc. So try to establish authority, give away free tips, content, blog posts, etc. and alongside mention that you are launching a course soon. Tip 5. Once you launch your course, reach out to people. So first thing is send out an email to all the email list subscribers who are the emails that you have collected over the last let's say 2 months before the launch. And as always, give out the lowest possible rates for them. So for me at launch, I gave perhaps $9.99. That was the lowest possible rate for my Udemy course, and that was what I offered to all the email subscribers. And I used ConvertKit to collect and broadcast these emails. And I reached out to 2 or 3 good friends of mine in the same space, natural language processing space, whom I told that I launched this course and would be great if you can spread the word out, and happily they obliged. And the great thing is that most of them were also formed online during the COVID times just through my sharing of NLP and stuff. So I have not met anyone in person as such. And the other thing that I did was to actually reach out to an NLP newsletter, and I asked them if they could talk about the course that I launched, and I gave a special coupon code for them. And in return, I spread the word about their newsletter on my social channels. So it was kind of a win-win for both of us. And the 6th tip is actually backlinking. So prior to the launch of the course, write blog posts, maybe make 1 or 2 YouTube videos on subtopics of the course. And if you release a GitHub repository, you have GitHub, go ahead and after the release of the course, give links, place links of your course in the Medium blogs if you're blogged there, or in the GitHub repository, or if you have YouTube video, then if you have YouTube channel, then in your YouTube channel post let's say 10 to 15% of the content for free, and at the end of the video tell them that you launched this course. So according to what I know, you can keep 50% of the course content for free on YouTube or any other channel, and Udemy is completely fine with that. Next is guest talks on your topic. So tip 7. So once I launched my course, I reached out to various popular YouTube channels, and some of them reached out to me. That I was fortunate that there were some LinkedIn DMs that came to me as well. And what I did was I gave guest talks on the subtopics of my course, almost like 3 or 4 guest talks spread across like 2 months or so. And also, as you revise content and update, give new guest talks. So it shouldn't be the same talk given over and over again. And like I mentioned, I added the course link in the GitHub main README, and I kept the first 1 hour of content for free on YouTube. So one main thing is that if you see, almost 80 to 90% of my course content, including the code, is already out there, either in guest talks or YouTube or blogs, etc. But don't worry about that. People pay for organized content, not just content. That's why even with all of that, I was able to drive sales even more. And believe me, even if you do that, it will only improve your sales and drive more sales, but it won't hurt your sales. And tip 8, after launch, reserve time to take active feedback and add content. So once I launched, there were some initial reviews that there is no deployment section for this course, or we would like to see an end-to-end project at the end of this course so that all the things come together. So I took that feedback actively, and in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I added modules to compensate for that. And the great thing is that once you add newer content to your course, you can slowly increase the price as well. And since the initial reviews and other things are there, your price will be justified if the reviews are good and if the content is good. And the last tip is actually building sales in public. So I would post about exactly how much money and how many sales I made every month, and after every milestone like hitting $500, $1,000 or $1,500, I would post about it, and I would put a screenshot of my Udemy earnings as well. And believe me, it doesn't hurt again. Every time I did that, probably it drove sales by $100 or $150 more. And you should find innovative ways to promote your course, because it shouldn't be that every time you say, hey, I released a course, buy this course. So it shouldn't be the same narrative. So I would say milestones, and if you add any new content, those steps, those milestones and new content updates are a very good way to talk about your course again and spread the word out on social media. Now, since we have reached the end, I have 2 bonus tips for you. First thing is, people are confused about whether to launch on Udemy, Teachable, Podia. There are a lot of these platforms where to launch. So how Udemy operates is that if you are able to drive sales, by that I mean if people sign up to the course with your link through a Medium blog or your custom link on LinkedIn or social media, etc., then you get 97% of the revenue. Otherwise, you get only 37% of the revenue. By that I mean if someone buys the course through ads, or if someone buys the course through, let's say, just landing onto the Udemy course website, Udemy platform, then you get only 37% of the revenue. And the other thing is that there's no cost to host the course on Udemy. But the thing with Teachable and Podia is they have monthly operating costs. So perhaps like Teachable might have $29.99 plan every month that you need to pay whether someone buys your course or not, and there is a cut that it takes as well. So if you're bootstrapped or if you're short on money, then I would say like launching on Udemy has a zero cost for you to launch and no recurrence charges or anything, whereas the other platforms have cost. And the other thing is that mainly if you are looking, if you have a large enough audience and you want to drive a premium course like $199 or something like that, then I would say Teachable or Podia makes sense, because you can customize the URL and you can run your courses on your own link, let's say ramsey.ai/NLP, something like that. So you can do that, and usually people buy courses from websites at a higher price because it's more like personalized and it's kind of looks a little different. But when it comes to Udemy, although you can price the course at $199, the thing that happens is that people are often used to buying courses at maybe like $10 on sale, $9, $10, etc. So they think that even if you have $199 price tag, they think it's just there, and some or the other day you'll get the discount and you can buy it at $9. So people usually are not used to buying high cost courses on Udemy. So that's one thing to consider. So that's like the psychology of the students who are buying the courses. I have bonus tip 2 for you. Explore partnerships. By that I mean, let's say if you have a very high quality course but you don't have an audience, partner with somebody. By that I mean, there are bigger players on Udemy as well, like Super Data Science, etc., who release courses. So people actually collaborate with them on a revenue sharing model, and you can launch courses. But one thing is that since you're launching it for the first time, maybe it's not like a 50-50 split. They'll ask for a different kind of split, and if you're okay with that kind of revenue share, you can go ahead with them. And at the same time, they have their scrutiny process, in the sense that they want to see some sample videos and know that you teach well and you are expressive, etc. So if you do not have the reach, then partner with somebody and you can propel the course further. It could be either partnering with an influencer on some kind of revenue share, or partnering with a platform to launch a course, etc. And one another thing is that usually Udemy has an opt-in where Udemy will sell your course on sale at any price and localized price to different countries. So you don't have control over that. You can opt in for that, and most people do that. But if you think your course is of like extremely high quality, you can opt out of that. So no matter whether there is a sale running, December sale or Christmas sale, all these things, your course is always priced at whatever price you give, maybe like $39 or etc. It will never be offered at a lower discounted price. And you can also opt out of Udemy for Business. So if a company has Udemy for Business, then your course will be available there if you opt in. But if you opt out, then people only need to buy the course individually. So you can do all of these things, I would say, when you are like extremely confident of the course. Otherwise, if you are trying to hit massive volume, where even if you make $2 or $3 from a purchase, it's okay for you, but those purchases come in bulk because it's offered for cheap, then I think it's worth it to try that route as well if you want to hit scale. And that's it from my end. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you want to check out my course, the link is in the description below. Thank you.